Within the most monstrous and fun hotel in cinema, Hotel Transylvania, each character has a unique mark, and the werewolf couple Wayne and Wanda is no exception. If there's something that sets them apart, besides being werewolves, it's the impressive number of children they have, such a large litter that sometimes it seems uncontrollable. What might have led Wayne and Wanda to have so many children? While other creatures in the hotel seem to live carefree lives, they appear obsessed with their own family and the idea of continuing the lineage. But what if, behind this comedy, there's something more serious, something that explains the biological need for these werewolves to have offspring? What if, unlike other monsters, the werewolves in Hotel Transylvania have a shorter lifespan or a hidden fragility, a limited immortality, that forces them to produce as many children as possible to ensure the continuity of their species? This theory leads us to look at Wayne and Wanda in a deeper and more intriguing way, as guardians of a lineage at risk. In folklore and pop culture, werewolves have an ambiguous relationship with mortality. They are powerful creatures, but they possess well-known weaknesses, silver for example, which can be lethal to them. Unlike vampires, mummies, or zombies, werewolves are often seen as half-human, creatures that transform under certain conditions, but live as common mortals outside these transformations. Although feared and revered, they are rarely considered immortal, which brings them closer to our reality. In the Hotel Transylvania universe, Wayne and Wanda seem to inherit something of this fragility. While Dracula, the Mummy, and Frankenstein traverse centuries without signs of aging or fatigue, Wayne is often portrayed as exhausted, aged, and always on the verge of a breakdown due to his numerous children. He exhibits signs that make us wonder if perhaps werewolves, even as supernatural creatures, do not possess the same longevity or resilience as the other monsters. This subtle and funny detail on the surface may hide an important factor. Wayne's extreme exhaustion and frenetic behavior may be more than a joke about chaotic parenthood. It could be an indication that he is racing against time, aware that his time is shorter compared to his monster friends. Thus, his dedication to having a huge litter could be a way to ensure the survival of his species, to protect and perpetuate the werewolf lineage. If we start from the premise that Wayne and Wanda have a shorter life expectancy, then it makes sense that they have so many children. In many species, especially in nature, animals that face great risks or have a short lifespan tend to have many offspring to ensure the continuity of their group. In the case of werewolves, Wayne and Wanda may be following a similar instinct, multiplying the family to ensure there is always a successor ready to keep the species alive. The various scenes where Wayne shows signs of fatigue can then be seen as indications of early aging or a burden that other monsters in the hotel simply do not have to bear. Unlike Dracula, who can live for centuries without aging, or the Mummy, who seems well preserved even after millennia, Wayne has to deal with the natural wear and tear of life. This reinforces the theory that his children are not just an excessive energy or a visual joke, but rather a conscious, or even unconscious effort of perpetuation. Another interesting detail is that Wayne and Wanda's pups are incredibly independent and active from a very young age, almost as if they are ready to take their parents' place if something happens. If we look closely, we notice that the pups have instinctive behaviors that resemble a necessary self-sufficiency, as if they were raised to survive on their own, something essential for species at higher risk of mortality. In a hotel where almost all monsters live carefree, knowing that time is not a threat to them, Wayne and Wanda are a kind of anomaly. Dracula, for instance, is practically immortal and crosses centuries without worrying about aging. The Mummy and Frankenstein, likewise, are creatures that defy time and death. These monsters do not need to think about descendants or succession. They themselves are the beginning and end of their stories. Werewolves, however, seem to be in a different situation. This contrast raises interesting questions. While Dracula and the others can live with the certainty that they will be there for centuries, Wayne and Wanda need to think of their children as a continuation of themselves. This makes them the most mortal characters within the hotel, living a paradox that makes them unique. Even as monsters, they are constantly under an invisible survival pressure. This difference in immortality creates a depth for Wayne and Wanda that would normally go unnoticed. By having many children, they build an internal community that ensures the survival of the werewolf lineage, even if they individually do not last as long as their monstrous colleagues. This heritage of mortality makes them figures of resilience, with a constant struggle for preservation, something that contrasts with the carefree nature of the other monsters. With this new perspective, Wayne and Wanda are no longer just a funny and noisy family, but become characters with an almost heroic mission. The large number of children, Wayne's chaotic behavior, and constant constant fatigue may not just be humor, but rather a reflection of a condition that forces them to live differently from the other monsters, fighting to ensure that the werewolf lineage does not get lost in a world where they are the only ones who need to worry about time. This limited immortality could be a key to exploring new stories in Hotel Transylvania. In a possible new film, we could see Wayne and Wanda facing more serious challenges related to the preservation of their species, or even an internal conflict between living for themselves or for their children. One could even imagine that they find a way to become more enduring, or that their children come to understand and take on this responsibility. After all, what if Wayne and Wanda were actually on a survival mission all along, but we only realize it now? While Wayne and Wanda are surrounded by immortal friends in Hotel Transylvania, their situation seems quite different. While Dracula, the Mummy, and Frankenstein have their existences virtually guaranteed, werewolves may be under constant pressure to ensure the continuity of their lineage. But what if there was an ancient ritual or a rare artifact that could give werewolves a chance to achieve the same immortality? This intriguing idea suggests that Wayne and Wanda might be secretly trying to find a way to protect the family forever. Having many children could then be an alternative plan if this immortality ritual fails, a biological guarantee to preserve their species. In the films, it is never explicitly stated that the werewolves are seeking immortality, but Wayne's exhausted and worried behavior may hide more than just family comedy. Imagine if, at some point, Wayne and Wanda had heard legends of an ancient ritual capable of granting longevity to werewolves, but that required courage and sacrifice. This could explain why Wayne seems so tired and desperate, as if he is carrying a much larger secret and responsibility than he appears. This idea of the ritual also brings an exciting possibility for future stories in the Hotel Transylvania universe. Wayne and Wanda could embark on an adventure where, in their attempt to find this ritual or artifact, they would face unknown challenges and dangers. This would add depth to Wayne's character, revealing a more vulnerable and determined side, willing to do anything for his family's safety. Who knows, he might even venture out in secret, without the other hotel monsters' knowledge, with the goal of finally ensuring his family the same immortality as the others. This theory encourages fans to see Wayne and Wanda from a new perspective, as tragic figures who may be trying to break a cycle of mortality that separates them from their eternal friends. The search for an immortality ritual, or its failure, could even become an emotional turning point for the family, making us question, is it worth sacrificing one's nature in exchange for a promise of immortality? Did you enjoy this theory? Leave your like and subscribe for more animation theories. And if you think Wayne and Wanda deserve a little rest, or if you'd like to see a new adventure about the werewolf family, let us know in the comments. And don't forget, click the video that will appear on the screen to continue exploring the world of Hotel Transylvania and other amazing films. See you there!